Hey, what is up, guys? This is John from 100%mindset.com. I'm out here today to review a book. It's called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Okay, now most of you guys know Napoleon Hill from Think and Grow Rich, okay? This is a much better book, you guys. I recommend this book way more than Think and Grow Rich, although you should read that one also. But if I provide a link below, I could be an affiliate for that link and I could get a small commission if you use my link to buy this book. That being said, let's dive into this book. Napoleon Hill was pretty much a self-development guy back in the 30s, back in the 40s. He got some money from a publisher or a bigwig to interview like some of the high rollers back in the day, the most the biggest characters in the scene, like John Rockefeller and the Carnegies. He was a young guy, a journalist, and was doing reporting and interviewing back in the day. So that's how he got his start. But back to this book, Outwitting the Devil. It's basically him interviewing the devil as to what gets in the way of self-improvement and human development, and why are people struggling. This was like after the Depression, and people were really having a hard time, and basically he would talk to his wife. That was his mastermind. She was part of this book. I think he wrote the questions down and she interviewed him as the devil, so to speak, to try to, take this perspective on what gets in the way and why people struggle. And basically it comes down to, he says, fear is the tool of a man-made devil. That man, the biggest obstacle is fear. And he goes into a lot in this book about drifting, and when he talks about drifting, why the human condition is, why are we prone on the couch? Why are we just lazy? Why don't we get after our goals? He also talks a little bit, he calls it the human sewer system, which is basically your fitness, your food intake, and he says that causes a lot of problems, why people have sickness and illness and no energy and no drive. And you got to think, he's coming from a perspective of the 30s and 40s. So he talks about the human sewer system, and it's basically, he's talking about like how it's dragging you down, it's slowing you down, it's causing disease, it's causing fatigue. I talk on these videos about fitness. This might be his way of touching on fitness and eating right. What goes in has to be clean. You're not going to have any drive and stamina if you don't get that right. So he talks about it as drifting. I would say equal that today. The devil says that I get a hold of people by mostly making them become drifters, okay? And that means that basically the devil, gets you to lay around all day. In modern day times, it might be you're watching UFC fights for freaking all day on YouTube. You're spending 8 hours watching football. You're drifting, man. You should be getting after certain things. You should be going to the gym. You should be pursuing your goals, but you're drifting, and that's how the devil gets a hold of you, supposedly. Look, he's writing this book from a point of view, he's probably an atheist or agnostic. This is hypothetical. I think what it was is he wrote these questions down, had his wife ask him, and he was answering as a devil. It's kind of an interesting, very interesting way, and it was controversial. Like back in the day, they did not put out this book until like 70 years later. So anyways, he talks about drifting. He talks about definiteness of purpose. Means, you have to have a goal. You have to have something to strive for. You have to have something to go after every day. You cannot just drift. You cannot be aimless. You cannot just go to the job and have the house payment and have the car payment and have the 2 kids. You will just spin your wheels indefinitely. And that's in a position a lot of us are in today. And that's why everybody's, unhappy or not motivated or not hitting the mark, not reaching their goals, not hitting their full potential. He talks about the 7 principles of good that lead to triumph. Okay? So some of the 7 principles, I'm not going to get into all of them, but are: you must delete fear, procrastination, anger, jealousy, etc. You can't be anywhere in life if you're just going to procrastinate. And the big one is fear. What are we really afraid of? We're afraid of rejection and being alone, or we're afraid of all this stuff that's mostly in our mind, okay? He gets you over a lot of that. He talks about financial education, back in the 30s. He basically says, free thinking. You cannot just go along with the masses. You have to be a free thinker. You spend your time and think in a logical way with definiteness of purpose. You're gonna achieve your goals. You're gonna set out on pretty much the 2%. 98% doesn't reflect or think or go after goals or have definiteness of purpose, is what he's saying. And these are not your current events. You need to go after what's current to you and what's important to you, and a lot of this stuff is just not. You waste all this time. A good analogy would be like, clear your desk of any BS. Clear your life of what is superfluous, what does not get you to move the needle a little bit further ahead, and I'm not talking about staying the same, because if you're not doing that, you're going a little bit down, and we all know what that does. Year after year, you just end up in a bad position because it all compounds on you. He also talks about in this book the power of a mastermind, okay? And I think in this case, he's really talking about him and his wife. 2 minds are better than 1. You cannot create or do things on your own. The power of a mastermind is immense. There's the elite and high performers. There's some people that will pay $5,000 a year or more to join a mastermind. You say, oh, that's stupid. But if you can glean 1 or 2 ideas or thoughts that really move the needle forward, what is $5,000 if it's $1 million idea? So he talks about the power of the mastermind, and mostly, like I said, you can mastermind with your wife. You can mastermind with your girlfriend. There is power in 2 minds and bouncing ideas off of people that have the same vibration as you, that aren't just eating the fast food and going to the latest Hollywood movie or watching TV, or people that are reading books and are free thinkers and think to themselves and don't follow the herd. This is what this book is telling you. Outwitting the devil is basically not going with the flow, not being a follower. It's being a leader, like a thought leader. And it's saying that the devil has all these tricks to bring you down. And it's not really the devil, folks. It's hypothetical. He's saying that because of our mind, because of our psychology, and because of the world we live in, and more importantly today, is that we are not thinking for ourselves. We are not getting our, like I said, the sewer system, the body, not getting our food intake right. It's too much sugar, too much salt, too much fast food. This all causes you to be sullen, to be still, to be lifeless, to just lead. As Joe Rogan says, wouldn't you want to optimize your life? Wouldn't you want to read books like this and eat clean and have a fitness level that just gets you that little bit more out of life? I think we all want that. And this book, Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon Hill, I recommend it thoroughly. It's an eye-opening book, and don't let the name turn you off. He's not talking about the real devil. It's a hypothetical situation where he does an interview in a style that's very engaging, very thought-provoking, and very uplifting. Like, this book is far better than Think and Grow Rich. So I gave this book 5 stars on Amazon, and if you're interested in buying the book, you can use my link right below.